Hello, audience. Guess who's back for thirds?
I'm talking about blood, babe. It's in your veins. Your mommy and the daddy, they've got the same. You're under the mirror day after day. You see a pretty face crumbling away as you become your mom and daddy. Scream once, scream twice, now scream again. Cover that face with your red right hand.
Welcome back to the channel, everybody, for a rather early review. It was what, just a few days ago we went into the second one?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah, because there were some scheduling conflicts with my Knock at the Cabin review on the Cool Kids channel, so I had to push things back a little bit. But nevertheless, we are here once again talking about this awesome series. But before we get into the third one, we actually need to do a bit of catch-up. Austin was not able to make it for the Scream 2 review, so if you want to, your quick overall thoughts on Scream 2.
Yeah, so overall thoughts on Scream 2, while it is not better than the first Scream, I still really enjoyed it. I thought the dialogue definitely held up better. It was very interesting seeing Daphne from the live-action Scooby-Doo have a role in Scream 2. Randy had one of my favorite scenes of the series where he tells the killer, "Fuck you!" Now I like Randy. He's a fun character. It's a shame that he got killed. The characters are likable once again. I like that it's in a more college setting. I still felt the kills were kind of to me, but other than that, I think it was a solid sequel. I thought the killer being revealed to be the mom, or one of the killers at least, to be the Stu's mom. I thought that was like, oh shit, that was a pretty shocking moment.
Billy's
Billy.
mom.
Shit, I forgot.
Billy's mother.
Oh no, my mom's gonna be mad at me.
I love Stu.
I do too. So other than that, it was fun. It's not my favorite. I still think the first one's a little better, but overall, yeah, no, the second one is good. I liked it.
Excellent, excellent. So now we come to Scream 3, which I think it's very important to note the overall kind of reputation and reception that this movie has among fans of the series and just horror fans in general. Often seen as the weakest of the bunch, even after Scream 5, and that being kind of divisive, although I still think it was mostly well received. But with this film, it's kind of running with me in my terrible taste in movies. I like this better than Scream 2.
Ooh, that's very controversial.
Yeah, it's very controversial.
There, I said it. Mic drop.
Very controversial.
But, so before we get into like positives and get into like the spoilers and the meta stuff, quick kind of just like overall thoughts on this one after Dylan's first time, because he's going through the franchise the first time, and then
this is my first time watching this, so
yep. So kind of with me, like I said, I like it better than Scream 2. I feel like the pacing is a lot better. And the characters, while characterization has never been a problem for me in this franchise, I thought that Gale Weathers in this movie was great. This might be the best she's been in the series so far. And Dewey, it's the dewdrop, so he immediately gets an awesome point. And Sydney is also probably the best she's been in this series so far. I feel like the attempts at suspense and tension worked better in this movie, and the reveal, or reveals, we'll get to it, Really, I remember really throwing me for a loop as much as say the first time I saw Empire Strikes Back. It was really solid. Well, that being said, we'll now take it over to Dylan.
All right. So, one of my thoughts about this movie. So, unlike Zach here, I actually thought it was gonna be better than Scream 2. I actually thought from the beginning that this might be my favorite, but the way it just turned out with the big reveal, and I can say it right. We're in the spoilers, right? Yeah.
We're just kind of giving brief thoughts first before we get into like
Yeah.
positives
Okay.
and stuff.
Okay. So, yeah. Overall thoughts is just before we had the main villain reveal. I actually was really enjoying the film. It's actually the main reveal that kind of ruined it for me. But to be honest with you, this is not better than Scream 1 or 2, but it wasn't that bad of a film either. This was really fun and entertaining, and I liked the mystery aspect as well.
Excellent. All right, Austin, brief thoughts.
All right, so I rewatched this movie earlier today, and while I agree with everybody, this was a solid movie. I will say, out of the three thus far, this is the weakest one. I kind of agree with Dylan. The reveal was shocking, but I felt like it was very unneeded, and I felt it just kind of overcomplicated everything, which
Mhm.
again, I get that was the running joke of the movie, or no, that was more of like the message of the movie about a trilogy, because this was technically the end of the Scream trilogy, even though we got two other movies after this. A couple of the characters are great. I'll kind of save my negatives for my negatives, but it does add something to Ghostface that I really liked here. Just my brief thoughts. I liked it, but there were things in this movie that kind of held it back for me.
Excellent, excellent. And the way we're gonna kind of structure from now on, instead of doing spoiler free for each of our categories, we're just gonna go spoiler warning the whole way through. So if you have not seen Scream 3 or whatever, then go and watch it and click back onto here. So that being said, we will actually kind of go backwards. We'll go with Austin first for positives, then Dylan, then me.
Right.
All right.
Okay. So, the one thing I liked about this movie is I like that they gave Ghostface. So he always has the voice modulator, but I liked how in this one he can change to other people's voices to trick them. I was like, oh, that's actually pretty cool, and it's actually very neat. It actually kind of gives more of a mystery to him. Like it could be anybody, and he can use it to lure people. I was like, oh, that's actually kind of sick. I like that we do get some time to see more of like the movie set of Stab in this film. Although I do kind of wish we could have maybe ended it in the movie set, but it was still a very fun, like a very, very fun like little thing with Sydney and Ghostface throughout the movie set, where it looks exactly like the house in Scream 1, which they do kind of play into with Dewey being the technical advisor. Gale, I agree. I think Gale was great in this movie, and Dewey himself, like again, I like the chemistry between Dewey and
Yep,
Gale.
it's the dewdrop immediately always getting at some point.
Oh, sure. I mean, at first he's kind of a dickwad in like the first portion of it, but he does at least get better throughout the movie. So that's not really a negative. That's just more of something that, like, he kind of comes off as a very douchey character, but you do understand why he's kind of a dick towards Gale, but you understand why, because they tried to make the relationship work, but it didn't work. But then they're gonna try again. So it was like all right, I kind of see what they were going for there. The whole thing with Randy, that one scene with Randy on the VHS tape where he gives it on the tape, he's like, if he died, he would tell them what would happen if there was a trilogy of murders. Which I thought that was very fun, especially when like he was kind of interacting with Dewey a little bit, even though he pre-recorded where he's like, "Yeah, I lost my virginity to this person," and then Dewey's like, "Wait, really?" And then he's like, "Yeah, shut up."
I mean,
Uh,
yep, it's Randy, man.
Even it when dead, Randy's fantastic.
Yep. S- Oh,
I
sorry.
liked Sydney again is a very solid character. She's obviously in hiding and she's actually doing the crisis talks, but I like that she's still having kind of like PTSD from what happened with in the previous two movies. And you do get a couple of nods there with the drama club pamphlet, which she was a part of in Scream 2. Um, as far as what else I liked, I mean, I guess this really isn't. I'll kind of save it for later, but I thought a couple of the kills. No, actually, I like the opening with again the voice modulator, but we see Cotton being killed, which is kind of like it makes sense in the context of the movie because it does lead into because it kind of ties in again to Sydney's mom, which I like that they tie that in. I like that they kind of added more to Sydney's mom's character, where it's revealed that she was actually an actress, but then she gets run out of Hollywood because of something that happens later on, and she has a son who is revealed to be, well, spoiler alert, is revealed to be the killer, which is kind of I'm gonna talk about that a little later, but it's interesting backstory to her, and it is nice to see more of the Hollywood side of things, where you kind of see how the Hollywood game is played. I guess you could say from the producer, I guess you could say. So yeah, most of this movie I really enjoyed, I would say. But there's just like I said, there are still things in this movie that just did not work for me, if that makes any sense.
I agree with you 100% because you and me basically have the exact same thoughts.
Fair, fair. Alrighty. Stage is yours, Dylan.
All right, so again, I really like Sydney's character in this. She was actually Gail was the best part of this movie for me. Gail Weathers, I really like her. Dealing with everything that she's been dealing with the whole thing about her stepping on people from the beginning and being the story writer. At the same time, she actually does kind of have a heart, and she was a really great character in this movie. Because it's almost like you love to hate her, but at the end of the day, you realize she's actually a really good, complex character, which is really funny that I say the word complex because that was a joke in the movie. Meta humor, gotta love it. And she's because of that, she's basically face to face with herself in the movie because the actor that's playing her in the Stab movie playing Gail Weathers actually joins her, and she kind of sees. Yeah, I was kind of a jerk back then, wasn't I? I actually really liked the meta humor about that. I I also really liked Dewey. Dewey was fun, but again, when it comes to Sydney, she was a fantastic character. I liked how she's been dealing with everything. I liked how she almost had like PTSD, just like Austin was saying. It really makes sense, and it really it makes you feel for the character. Um, as well as the whole thing about her mother and the quote unquote ghost mother who was actually just the killer just messing with her the entire time. I liked how you didn't know if that was actually in her head or if it was just um real, which was fun, and it played into the movie quite well. Again, meta humor, but it played in the movie quite well. I really wish there was more meta humor. I like the fact that they actually did bring Randy back. I don't mean he's alive. I mean he left a tape in case AC died, and they got to see that. And Randy was a big part of the movie. He ended up being a big part of the movie, even though he was dead. That's fantastic. I really enjoy Randy. God rest in peace, Randy. I miss Randy as a character. He was great in the movie. Another character I really ended to like, and I knew he wasn't going to end up surviving the movie, but Tyson from the last movie. He was a cameraman last movie. Now he's an actor. He's just trying to get away from all the deaths, and yeah, when you're in this franchise, you're never gonna get away with it. He ends up dead as well, but I knew he was gonna end up dead this movie. There's no way he was going to survive. I also liked Angelina, I think her name was the weird girl. Like they kept wanting you to think that she was the killer, but I knew she was kind of too sweet to be the killer.
Or
Yeah,
at least
she ended
until
up
the
being
end, you know, she. Holy shit.
Oh yeah. That was well. Can you blame her though? Because for God's sakes, look at the situation she's in. Like I would probably be doing the exact same thing she did. Like, she was just there for the role, there for to be an actor, and now she's literally in a situation where she could literally die. I would do the same thing and try to run. It's unfortunate that she did not survive. Now the I also really liked the new detective. I actually thought for the longest time in the movie that he was actually going to be the main villain of the movie. I don't. What was the detective's name?
Mark Kincaid.
Mark Kincaid. He was a fantastic character. I really enjoyed his character as well. Uh, kind of wish he survived because I don't
He
know.
did.
I kind of like. Did he? Did he
Mm-hmm.
survive? Because I know he got shot. I did
Yep.
see him at the end, so okay. So hopefully he's
Oh
in the
yeah,
next movie.
he was at the end with them watching that movie. He had his arm in a
Oh,
sling.
that's right. That's right. And actually, what I really liked that they did was the beginning. What made me think that this might end up being my favorite movie, and even though it didn't end up being my favorite out of the trilogy, it is the weakest one. I gotta tell you, the opening of this one was fantastic with Cotton and his girlfriend, how they actually end up dead, which that was a really good way to open up the story because
Yep.
it was a
Even
change from the
though,
whole stab kind of thing.
yep, even though killing him pissed me off.
Yeah, well, I mean, come to think of it, there's no. I figured he'd be dead if not in this movie by the next one because I know there's 5 movies. So, again, this
Soon
is
to
my
be
first time viewing these movies, but I know that these characters are not gonna end up surviving. I'm actually gonna be curious on who actually ends up. Is Sydney even gonna end up surviving by the 6th one? I have no idea. We'll have to see, but yeah, I think that just about covers all my positives because everything else that I liked about the movie, Austin already covered. So
Mm-hmm.
with that said, go ahead, Zach.
Well, I gotta say, and I'm sure we could all probably agree that as far as my first positive goes, the quality of this movie. If this is really the weakest one, at least so far, if this is the weakest one at least so far in your franchise, you're still doing pretty damn good. What would you guys
Yeah,
say?
because this was a really good movie.
Yeah, because let's be honest, Austin could back me up here. It could have been a lot worse. It could have ended up being Halloween 5 or Resurrection.
Or Freddy's Dead levels of bad.
Yep. So again, for 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 this being the worst in your slasher franchise, you're still doing pretty darn good.
I would think so. Yes.
And I just realized I have not talked about Sydney much personally in these reviews, but I really got to compliment the writing for Sydney's character as well as, and you know what? I'm going to say right now, even now with, like, at this point, I'm going to say this is Neve Campbell's best performance in the franchise is in Scream 3. Then again, she's always great, but like you all said, she has that kind of power to her as an actress, at least when she's in these movies. Like, she's really able to sell that she's a broken person just trying to still live some semblance of a life, and I really cared about her. And of course, like I said earlier, I think Gail is the best she has ever been, at least so far. So far.
She's the best
And
character of the movie.
yep. And whereas a couple of things, I don't know, what do you guys think? Whereas kind of her back and forth with Dewey kind of felt like it was on autopilot in 2 going off of 1. In 3, it actually feels like their relationship is progressing a bit in this movie.
Yeah, I do agree with you on that.
It does, but I'm also going to save that for my negatives because I do have a bit of an issue with it. But uh, I'll kind of say my reasoning behind why.
And I did like how Dewey was kind of a bodyguard for these characters. I really buy that if they're making a movie based off of these real events, that they would want to consult the real people, like that's just like a real world thing. So I thought it was clever that the movie did that, as far as how it did its meta humor, and it's still implementing the stab elements of the that are kind of a running joke in the series. So, and I know it is kind of, you have to kind of leap all sorts of logic in order to be able to buy it, but I really dig the Roman reveal. I'm just a real big fan of those kinds of plot elements where they reveal that it's been going on since the original, before the original, but you never knew it, and now we're bringing it full circle. I dig it when it's done really well, and Scream 3 I feel does it really well. I buy just enough that's how it happened, because it still implements Billy and Stu as the killers. They did kill Maureen Prescott, but I buy that if they want to go for that kind of element with someone being the mastermind, I feel like they did it pretty well. But and the pacing, I feel like this is a much better paced movie than Scream 2. Again, I really like that movie, but one of my biggest issues, what if it felt like a couple scenes dragged in this? I mean, in that one, there's not a moment in this movie that I felt dragged at all. What do you guys think?
Well, I mean, like the pacing was never an issue in the second movie for me, but I can see what you mean.
Yeah. Like Scream 2 was like 2 hours long. Maybe you could have shaved off like 5-10 minutes. But it's not bad at all. But again, I feel like in Scream 3, there's not a single moment that dragged at all. And it's only like a couple minutes shorter than the second one, so there you go.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, those are probably the biggest things I can praise about the movie. So we will take it over to the mixed aspects. We will start.
All right.
Or if Dylan wants to go first, then yeah, we'll go to Dylan, then Austin, then me.
No, go ahead, Austin.
Oh, it's my turn. All right.
Yeah.
So for mixed aspects, I thought the kills, again, besides from maybe the explosion kill, I thought, even though, again, with the new voice changer, I still felt like the kills were lacking something. Like, I feel like, again, it's just...
As far as gore?
It's not really gore, but it's more like just... It's not very stylish enough. It's just, again, you just stab them.
Not as surprising.
No. And I will say the Gale and Dewey thing where they break up and they have a falling out and get back together again, by the third movie, it does kind of get a little repetitious. And I think that's kind of my... and this isn't really a negative for me because it's not too bad, but I feel like by this stage, I feel like it is starting to get a little repetitious in the sense of it's kind of the same story beats of, oh, the killer's going after Sydney. Oh, Gale and Dewey are having a falling out, and then they get back together, and then there's the reveal. Like, it's creative and different enough to where it's not to the point of, oh, it's the same movie, but it does get to a point of like, all right, we've seen basically this entire movie before in terms of story beats that I think they could maybe do something a little different. But other than that,
I agree with you on that.
I really don't have any other mixed aspects. I do have a couple other positives though that I forgot to mention. I did like the I did like the explosion kill, like I said earlier. And I forgot. I forgot. Other than the explosion kill, there's one other one that, if I remember, I'll come back to it. But yeah,
I did like at least the line that Roman had where he killed the older guys. Like, Roman, I'll make you a deal. Final Cut or anything. It's like, I already have Final Cut.
No, oh, actually, yeah. What Dylan said about the meta humor, I think the meta humor here was pretty fun too, especially during that scene where Gale and then other Gale are going to the Hollywood thing to look up Sydney's mom, and then you have the actress there who was originally going to be Leia, but then she's like, "Oh, you know why I didn't get it? Because I wasn't the actress that screwed George Lucas or whatever."
And the
Like-
fact that that's actually Carrie Fisher, I was like, that was
Yeah.
brilliant.
That's great.
Wait, Carrie Fisher actually played her?
Yeah,
that was Gary Fisher.
Yeah,
Oh
that
my
was Carrie
god!
Fisher.
I didn't notice that. Holy shit! Wow.
Yeah,
What's great about it?
that's why it's brilliant, man. It was
It's even more meta humor on top of it when you realize that that's actually Carrie Fisher.
And I also like the whole when Carrie Fisher. Now that you told me that was her, thank you. I like when she tells Gail, "Well, you know, I could tell you who you look like," which is kind of funny because she's the same actress that played Monica in Friends. So I'm like, oh, are they gonna mention her a little bit? Because they do mention David Schwimmer, who played Ross in Friends. So it was like, oh, that would have been a nice little, nice funny little thing
Yeah.
there, but.
Yeah.
Other than that, yeah, no, those are my positives and my mixed aspects.
excellent. All right, Dylan.
Yeah, okay, so what I'm really mixed on is, again, this is not really a negative for me. This is just a mix, and that is the big reveal of the villain at the end being her brother. And I mean, I liked the story, I liked what they were trying to go with and everything. I just kind of I kind of felt like there really was no build up to it, and that's where I'm like, the other movies they had even though Billy's mom almost came out of nowhere, she was still a large part of the film, and she was doing stuff. When you look back, you realize, wait, she was kind of doing stuff behind the scenes, so it just made sense. With this one, this literally was out of the blue and had no connection to the main character except for the fact that he was her sister. Like that whole thing was never built up, never planned. It would have been different if like they found like a birth certificate it belonging to what's her name, Sydney's mom, but her actor's name. If they found that he had some sort of birth certificate that led to possibly a brother of Sydney, and then Sydney had to go searching for a brother, not knowing that her brother ended up being the killer. But something that led into that kind of situation would have been really interesting. Instead, it literally just comes out of nowhere, and that's where I kind of just don't like it, because in the other films it had you guessing the entire time, but this film you can't even guess. So that I guess, and again, it's a good twist. I do like how it brings it all at the end. And like I said, I'm very mixed on it, because while it is a good twist that it's your brother, and I like the fact that it came all the way in a circle like that. Uh, I wish there was a little bit more to it than what they actually end up doing. That's it.
Fair. I'll say right now, this is probably, as far as my mixed aspects, this is probably the least bloody and gory of the entire franchise, which thankfully 4 makes up for, but we will get to that awesomeness next week. But other than that, the Joel the camera guy as a returning character was the only real interesting of the side characters for me. I mean, I liked the idea of the running gag of like, oh, these are actors playing like Sydney and Dewey and stuff, but they weren't that
was fun.
interesting of characters outside of maybe the Gale actress. Like that chick was pretty funny, and she
Yeah.
had a lot of fire to her.
I liked what's his name, the director as well, the director of the Stab movies. I liked him as well.
Oh yeah, Roman. He was the killer.
No, I'm talking about the other guy, the one that Roman killed.
Oh, the older guy, yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
Played by Lance Henriksen, by the way, which anything is always better with Lance Henriksen in it.
Yeah.
But he's probably better known for Aliens, I'd assume, but that's another story. Other than that, I feel like there's a couple maybe logic issues with the fact that there's only one killer this time around, which how do you guys feel about that this time around, real quick, that there's only one killer?
I don't mind that at all. I just kind of wish he had more of a connection with Sydney throughout the movie because he literally just came out of nowhere with that little fact. I mean, it wasn't like a mystery aspect where I think it would have been more interesting if Sydney found out that she had a brother like in the middle of the film, and maybe the killer might go after her brother, or maybe her brother has some leads, so she's trying to find her brother, and it just turns out that the brother is the killer. I think that would have satisfied me more than what they actually end up doing.
Yeah. How about you, Austin? Like, do you feel like with there only being one killer that there were a few issues in logic?
No, I don't think I necessarily minded the one killer because again, you had the voice changer with multiple different things, so you didn't really need
It
another
actually made it
killer.
fun. Actually, the
Yeah,
voice changer made it fun.
Oh yeah, I like the voice changer, but as far as the fact that it's one person doing all this,
I honestly I didn't really mind, to tell you the truth.
fair,
Yeah.
fair. Other than that, not much else mixed for me. So we will take it away to Austin with the negatives.
All right, I'm gonna be quite honest with everybody. I felt the side characters were not that interesting. I thought they were kind of bland. They were not very likable either. So when they got killed, it was just like oh, they died. Why do I feel bad? Type of thing. And I'm gonna agree with Dylan. I did not like that because like I was fine with Roman being the killer. I just felt like adding the whole brother thing, it felt unnecessary. Like, don't get me wrong, I get what they were trying to do with this movie and how they're trying to make it to be how, oh well, in a trilogy it's all or nothing type of thing. So I get what they were going for, but I feel like it does overcomplicate things with this Roman being the brother type of thing. Like, it just wasn't really needed. You could have just had Roman be like, oh, I was like, you could have given him a better reasoning than just, oh, I just wanted to kill you. I killed our mom, Sydney, type of thing, and I'm the good person here. Like, it just felt forced, and I wouldn't say it didn't work. So it worked for what it was. I wish it was maybe done better. So
Yeah.
that's really it.
My only real negative, I guess, it'll be me. Then we'll take it to Dylan. But I did feel a bit of repetitiveness with I guess Sydney hiding out, and I guess sort of the Gale and Dewey stuff, but I'm more forgiving of the the Gale and Dewey stuff because I feel like that their characters and their relationships were actually progressing more than they did in 2, but uh, I guess it's not that there's any that I couldn't think of, but it's just on the top of my head. There's not really any
They're
negatives
more
I can think
mixes
of.
than they are negatives this time around,
Yeah, because other than that, like I said at the beginning, I overall like this more than I do Scream 2.
Yeah.
I'm in that camp.
So for me, I do have one blaring negative that actually everyone's already pretty much talked about, but it's the fact that the side characters really weren't that interesting, and you never really got attached to any of them because almost all of them were kind of jerks. So
Except
it was
Camera Guy.
like, well, yeah, but we already knew Camera Guy. I'm talking about the
Oh
new
yeah.
people.
Right, right.
Yeah, Cameron Guy Tyson was great, but I'm talking about everyone that they introduced new to possibly be the killer, possibly be the mystery. None of them really were that interesting of a character. You didn't get to know any one of them except the Gale twin, I like to call her. She was pretty good, but everyone else was kind of like, yeah, yeah, I
Fair.
didn't like
Fair.
any of them. I didn't really feel that much of a punch when they got killed because it was like, yeah, I'm sad that they're dead, but I didn't get to know them, so why am I sad that they're dead? Unlike when Tyson died. So
Man, he died brutal too.
yeah, he did.
Mm-hmm. So that's pretty much it. Anything? You know what? Since this is Dylan's first time kind of watching the series, I think something we'll kind of start doing after we go through all of our categories is what Dylan's predictions and expectations are for the next movie to come. So, Dylan, you have any?
All right. Do you have any predictions for the next movie? I think it would be really interesting if Stu from the first movie came back, but not as a villain. He comes back kind of set kind of sorry for what he's done, even though he was a prick as a teenager, and he ends up actually saving Sydney, but he still ends up dead at the end from a new villain. That's my prediction. That's what I would actually kind of like to see. But other than that, I expect more blood. That's about it. I expect more deaths. I
You think
think
you think any of the main ones are gonna bite it next time?
every time I think Gail's gonna die, she survives. So I'm gonna say Gail. Um, but I guess the cop. Well, now that the cop guy is dating Sydney, it almost looks like at the end. I guess because anyone who dates Sydney ends up dead. I guess he'll end up dead in the next film, even though he's not like a main character. I'm guessing the only one that will actually survive is Sydney and Dewey,
Ah,
and have
alrighty then.
probably add some new character that survives as well.
Very well, very well. Alrighty. Any final thoughts or whatever before we get into our final score?
Nope, I'm good.
Yeah, I'm good as well.
Good film.
Alrighty then.
That's about it.
Alrighty then. I am personally going to give Scream 3 an A- and a 9 out of 10. Again, I like it, and I like it so much more than Scream 2, even though Scream 2 is a damn good sequel too. Like I said, the quality of these movies for all 5 of them so far is really close. So, yeah. Alrighty, Dylan.
All right, so I have enjoyed the Scream movies so far. This is my first time watching them, so it's really interesting. I gave the first two movies a B. They're both tied for me. I both really like them. This movie, I will give a B as well, but it's gonna be a B minus. The other two films are better than this one, but I still really liked this film. That's what's crazy about it. I can't really give it less than a B.
Excellent.
Like it's not a C tier type of movie.
Oh, certainly not. Alrighty, and to wrap it up with Austin.
All right, so for Scream 2, I'm actually gonna give that a B plus, and then I'm just gonna give Scream 3 a flat B because
Similar to
it is a good one. It is a good movie, but it's not the best. Like, it's not good enough to be A for me, but it's solid. I liked it.
Yep. Because again, the quality of these movies for the most part is really close.
For the most part, yeah.
Very good, very good.
They've been very good, yeah.
Then I guess that is going to wrap it up for a review of Scream 3. Join us on the 18th of February, actually, over 2 weeks from now, or unless something comes up and I have to change the time. But for right now, join us on the 18th for our review of Scream 4. And then join us on the 4th on the Cool Kids channel for our live review of for M Night Shyamalan's newest movie, Knock at the Cabin. I am sick, so forgive my stuttering. But other than that, Dylan, where can they find you?
Okay, you guys can not only find me on Zach Gaudiolo's channel, you can find me on the Austinator's channel for the DC reviews. You can find me at Tim's Talk for the Bad Batch reviews. You can sometimes find me at Sauerkraut's channel. You can find me at Ninja243's channel, Star Wars Network. And you guys can find me on my new channel, Anime Talk, where we literally gather up a couple of friends and talk anime. We talked about Chainsaw Man last week, and next Tuesday we will be talking about Death Note, also with a couple new changes to Anime Talk that I hope you guys are interested in. So with that said, like, share, subscribe to everybody, and come and join us. Thanks for having me on, Zach.
Anytime. All right, Austin.
All right, you guys can usually find me. So this past Sunday, you could have found me on Tim's channel for where we talk about this recent episode of Bad Batch. You can find me also on Sundays if it happens for the Bad Batch Roundtable on Chaos Central. You guys can find me on my channel on Wednesdays and Saturdays where we do the DC Animated Movie Universe reviews. Yes, on Wednesday we did Teen Titans: The Judas Contract, and then this coming Saturday we're doing Suicide Squad: Hell to Pay. So go to check that out when you guys can. Where these two guys, you can usually find them on. You guys can also find me also on Anime Talk on Tuesdays, and they hang out usually on Wednesdays. So on the Basketball Scenarios channel. So yeah, that's about it for me. Zach, thanks for having me on.
Anytime. So, we are pretty much halfway through this franchise. It's kind of scary, isn't it?
Scary? I don't know if that's the right word to use.
You're not scared, are you?
Nope.
You will be. With Scream 4 especially, you will be. But, with that being said, we are going to head out. And we will see you on the 18th for our review of Scream Quadros. See y'all next time, fellas.
Bye.
Later, guys.